Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. Presented by Yamaha.
You're watching the Texas Insider Fishing Report, and this week, to take you into your Labor Day weekend, we're theming out with some wade fishing, right, Rick?
You know what, we are, and there's one thing, if you're ever gonna wanna go wading, now's the time to do it. It's so daggum hot.
Yep.
And my grandfather would say it's hot as hell.
It's hotter than Hades out there, people.
Exactly.
All right, well, our guys are ready to get you in the water. Plus, we have a special guest from Bahia waiting in the wings. But let's first say hi to Dave Farrell at the Parts View Workbench Shoe. What do you have over there? Some Converse? Nope, you got your boots over there.
Yeah, I didn't bring the Converse in, which is my normal wading attire.
It is.
But we've got the fancy stuff. So we're going to tell you why this fancy stuff's a little better than my Converse high top.
Oh, I've never heard Dave say fancy before. We're being bougie over there at the Parts View Workbench. All right, well, let's bust out some Proshex jerky boat snacks in the Proshex Middle Coast region with Captain Bink Grimes, who has been waiting around these parts for quite some time. So let's hear it, Bink.
Wade fishing is what my fishing business was built on. Back when I started almost 30 years ago, I waded 80% of the time through top waters from daylight to dark. Times has changed now. I only wade about 20% of the time, and frankly, all those loyal waders I once guided have all grown old. That new generation doesn't wade as much, but we're trying to get them to. I always give people the option, especially during the heat of the summer. Wading was once so popular. I wrote a book about it 20 years ago called Wade Fish Texas. It's it's got GPS coordinates from Sabine to South Padre. It's still in print, Texas Fish and Game Press. That all that information still applies. And one thing I love doing is tossing the top water in waist deep water. It never gets old to me. And that's really what we're doing right now in the middle of August. Right now, our north winds, they feel really good. It's dropping temps and humidity, giving us the first glimpse of fall. Those fish have responded to good catches taken on top waters and soft plastics. In some bays, birds have been working. Low barometer and storms building in the Gulf is usually a recipe for big trout. This week it didn't disappoint. There was numerous big trout caught and released while working shell, up to 5 pounds. Grassy banks along the North Shoreline East Bay are holding solid trout for waders, tossing top waters. On the upper end of West Matagorda Bay, it's been consistent for trout to 5 pounds over shell. Then Coon Island, the Barge, Half Moon Reef are all holding large schools of trout on Bass Assassins, Little Johns, and the Gulfs. In Freeport, those back lakes and bows around Bastrop and Chocolate Bay are good on the reef. Live shrimp under a popping cork, fish them on the edges have worked well. Rockport, they found good trout on top waters around Super Flats, on Texas Custom Lures Double D's, in Mesquite Bay and Mud Island and Trailer Island as well. Waders working the flats along Pascaval. I love fishing around Pascaval, tossing sheep pups and soft dines. Mirrors worked along the rocks. And I threw top waters on that Porter Connor jetty last week while I was tarpon fishing as well. Man, it was good. Photo there, that's Captain Michael Quebeca. He had an 8-pound trout he caught while tossing a plug. Incidentally, we caught fish all day this week while we're off charted. But this time of year, we love wading. Even when I have a day off, man, if it's slick, I'm getting in the water. Redfish action. Bull reds begun their trek to the Gulf, and many have been found along the beachfront from Surfside to Port Aransas. All those jetties are players right now. The Surfside, Freeport jetties are holding a lot of redfish on crackling crab, mullet, and fresh table shrimp. Porter Connor jetty, there's just a lot of big reds in 35 to 60 foot of water right there on the rocks as well in Port Aransas. Guide Michael Rolfe in Matagorda took advantage of the swollen tides. Our tides came up about a foot this week with all that low pressure in the Gulf, and it kicked off our redfish action in West Matagorda Bay. He's been using live shrimp and chunks of mullet. Waders, they found it in West Bay as well on shorelines of Gulfs, casting those points. And as always, those slot-sized fish were in bunches of 2 dozen or more in the grass. It's just going to get better and better as we get closer into September. Offshore action, tarpon, man, I chased them this week. Didn't do real well, but man, we're starting to see more and more. A lot of kings, silver kings showing up on the beach at 12 to 40 foot of water. Most of them have been at 12 to 20 foot here lately. We got a lot of menhaden coming through, and those big fish are shadowing them. Been working the Freeport, Matagorda, and Porter Connor jetty as well. Guys in Porter Connor, they've been working those moving schools along the beach at the jetty, taking fish up to about 110 pounds. There's a lot of 40s and 50s in there, and a lot of them are just doing that trolling up and down the rocks and, just waiting for the bite. But it's only going to get better for our tarpon fishing as we get into September, but there's been some really good ones caught. Hey, our Prospects Family Smokehouse Middle Coast region has been good. It's hot out there. Please take care of our fish. Get them back in the water as soon as possible during these scorching summer days. Please enjoy your Labor Day. We open dove season September 1st. My best dove spot is a sunflower field, just a short cast behind Prospect Smokehouse. We usually eat lunch there in the morning and then hunt that afternoon. I mean, it is right behind Prospect. I've just shot hundreds and hundreds of white wings out there over the years.
That's awesome. All right, I'm sure they'll be glad to see you there, Bink. All right, we're gonna go and take a look at the mirror lure hotspots from the Middle Coast region. Bink says the trout are good in the Mid-Bay reefs in East Matagorda Bay for waders tossing sea dogs and mirror lure soft dines, and the redfish are biting in West Matagorda Bay against the grass lines on the North Shoreline on mullet and schweppes.
Right, well, our anglers in the Phillips Upper Coast region are definitely fans of wading, so let's hear how they're reeling in those trout and reds with Captain Mickey Eastman. Go for it, Mickey.
All right. Yeah, the wade fishing is just an excellent method of catching speckled trout and redfish on the upper Texas coast. Always has been. Not to mention it's very popular, productive. It's an efficient way to catch big fish like that, and that's pretty much, you know, been my forte all my life is wade fishing and fishing for big speckled trout. It's just it just gets in your blood, and this time of year there's a lot of good fish being caught shallow, believe it or not, as hot as it's been. But starting out with the upper coast speckled trout right now, the Bolivar Peninsula surf and the Galveston Island surf, they're still on fire for waders early in the morning with these calm winds, mostly north in the morning with a slick surf. Air, clear water, top waters are best bet in the first gut, and they're catching them all the way up and down the beach. And downsize your top waters in that super clear water for best results. Saltwater Assassins and Mirror Lure Little Johns, rig those with a 1/4 ounce Pro Elite jig head, and then moving into the bay waters, gas well pads along a ship channel near a lease separator are producing solid trout on down current sides of these shell pads. Water clarity is green and 89 degrees, and Sabine Lake's pretty much producing the same way over there. Throw soft plastics and pearl and chartreuse for best results. Some trout are starting to show up in the top end of the lake as that water salts up there on the top end by the ship channel in Pleasure Island. Water clarity over there is fair and 89 degrees. Main Lake Deep Shell north of the causeway is still holding good solid trout in 6 to 8 feet of water. On Saltwater Assassins, Slamming Chicken and Red Shad have been really good colors with the water cleaning up. Midday bite, use orange and pink Mirror Lure Top Dog top waters, and look for diving gulls in that main lake near Blue Buck Point and Garrison's Ridge. They've been holding about 5 to 7 feet of water over scattered shell. Look for shad balls in that open water. Later in the day, we've had an incredible shad hatch on the upper coast, and these fish are going nuts on them right now, especially in the surf. The bull reds and the tarpon are going nuts on them too. But redfish action is picking up with the warmer temperatures. Bull redfish in the surf is just incredible right now, all up and down the Texas coast. It's really early this year, and fish shallow early over grass and shell where schools are running, shad tight to the shoreline, and then top waters and spoons, soft plastics, they're all working great. And later in the day, move out to those open bay waters and look for birds, slicks, and mud boils for bigger schools in the heat of the day, and stay with those shad balls too. Key on the bait. Water temp's 89 degrees and in good shape. Sabine Lake red fishing, same way, starting to heat up in open water. And Main Lake, you know, current and shad balls and diving gulls in the middle of the day when the water glass is off. You get that good calm water, it's easy to spot those redfish starting to move on the surface on those shad balls. And the north end of the lake action, it's picking up near the Barrel Channel Cut and islands along Intercoastal and deep coves near the Natchez and Sabine rivers. Deeper shell off the ship channel near Pleasure Point's producing some good slot reds on soft plastics, paddle-tail bass assassins, and chartreuse and roach colors. This week's redfish photo, that's with that bruiser. That's Jeff Storm of Beach City with a big back leg bruiser.
Wow.
And offshore fishing, can't say enough about it. That continues just to be good with these winds down in the calm seas. Multiple species of fish are coming in at all docks: marlin, sailfish, dolphin, ling, blackfin tuna, snapper, kingfish, they're all being caught consistently, and tarpon, sharks, and bull red action in the surf. It's just red hot right now along the beachfront. And the tarpon photo, that's from Captain James Clogg with Silver King Adventures, releasing another big one out of Galveston. And red snapper, that's Captain Sharky Marquez with Outcast Charters in Galveston.
All right, bud, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Upper Coast region. Mickey says Galveston and Boulevard Beach front. They're producing good numbers of speckled trout, bull redfish, sharks, and napoon. And guess what? Deep shell bed pads and reefs are producing best numbers of trout in Galveston and in Sabine, Bree.
All right, well, the Middle Fresh region has a few tips if you want to be successful on the water this weekend. But first, we're seeing what kind of tips Dave Farrell has for us at the Parts View workbench for rigs and techniques. It looks like you got a few over there.
I've got at least 12.
At least 12.
At least 12.
At least 50 to get through.
And 2, 12.
All right, we'll be right back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Ameritrail. Load, launch, relax. Fenwick. Feel everything. Bahio. Blue light blocking, radically clear polarized fishing sunglasses. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy. Fishing for adventure. Berkeley. Your fish, our science. Prosex Smoked Meats. Fuel your day the Texas way. And Skeeter Performance Fishing Boats. Eat, sleep, fish.
Well, as you can see, we're here to talk a little bit about wading at the Parts View workbench. And you know what, Dave? Let's just throw it on down.
I got a lot of crap here. So first off, we're going to start with a rod and reel setup. You want something with a high retrieve because you're going to be making long casts and you want to get it back fast. This is a numbers game. You know, you're going to be wanting to cover ground, not only with your lures but with your feet. So when you're out there wading, you want to cover ground. You want to use things that you can maybe walk the dog instead of a chugger because it can come back faster. And this is the kind of thing that you want right here. You want something that's medium fast, because if it's too heavy, if you're just thinking, oh, I just need a real thick, stiff rod to catch a big redfish, you can't make those long casts over and over again. Just the medium fast tip allows it to load up and helps you make a cast.
Right.
You know, it's a 1/4 ounce or even more. You know, you need that tip to bend and help you make those long casts. It doesn't matter how long it is. You know, if you get an 8-footer and it's too stiff, you're going to be fighting it, casting it when you're out there. And it's very important to make those long casts, again, because you're not high above the water. You're casting at water level pretty much.
Right.
So you want your rod to help you as much as possible when you're wade fishing. Not only that, I got a 9-pound braid on here, and I've got a really long fluorocarbon leader. You notice that my leader is almost as long as the rod.
Right.
And I do that because during the day, if I'm out there and I need to cut the leader off several times, I can shorten this leader up and I don't have to retie to the main line.
Right.
Because I can, chew all this up. I also have a clip on here. I have a bait clip. So instead of having to retie, if I'm going from a topwater plug to a spoon to whatever, instead of having to retie every time, if I use one of those little clips, I can clip that thing on there really fast.
Right.
And I don't have to spend, because it's hard to hold the rod and tie stuff on. It's so much easier when you have that little clip.
That's a good tip.
Yeah, and use that 15 to 20 pound braid.
Right.
It casts a long way. And that's what we that little gulp dragon tail, if we're not using topwater lures, you got the proven smell of the gulp. It works great on a jig head. It imitates both a shrimp and or a small bait fish, which is what these fish are eating on the flats.
Right.
So it's a perfect for that. And also, you got a paddle tail again. When you're out there trying to cover ground again.
The bass assassin.
Yeah. So you just want to throw that out there and just reel it back to you, kind of like you would a spoon. The good thing about this is you can put it on a weighted jig head, and it becomes weedless for you, which helps if you're fishing in grass and whatnot.
Right.
Because if you don't, if you put that on just a regular jig head and you've got any kind of grass, you're going to be getting hung up all the time.
Right. You can rig it weedless.
You're going to want a pair of good boots. Mm-hmm. These have a zipper on the side, which is always great. If you have a nice side zipper, you can get these boots on and off a lot easier than if there's no zipper at all. I like to use tennis shoes when I'm wading.
Right.
High top tennis shoes. You can't use low tops if you're going to be fishing in any kind of sand or mud that's going to suck over the top of those high tops. If it comes over the top of the high top, the odds are you're going to leave that shoe there. Next we have, they got really cool stuff now to carry all your gear with. Before, when I started, we had this kind of thing. We had one of these pro belts, which was kind of like a fanny pack, but this ended up getting all your stuff in the water anyway. So this is the new kind. This is the Texas Best wading vest, and this guy has made the vest so that all your stuff, your little box and your reels, you can put 2 rod and reels in here, stays up high on the top of your back. So it's not waist level or below and getting in the water, which is
and then
very
I guess
important.
With it being up here by your shoulders, you can just reach back
and grab your box.
your tackle box.
Yeah.
Put your rod in the rod holder. You got your line hanging down. I love this. Way to go. This is pretty smart stuff here.
Yeah, Texas Best wading vest. They make really cool stuff. And if you don't want to get all that fancy, you can just go ahead and get you a 30-liter waterproof bag, put your waterproof boxes in it. Now they come with nice straps, so you can just put it over your shoulder. And again, you're just wearing it on your back instead of on your waist, which gets everything wet.
All right, good job. We got to clean up we wiped out Castaway's coffee display. Holy cow.
Oh man, all right. Well, if wading is your thing in the Star-Tron Middle Fresh region, you're gonna have to wait a few more months, according to Matt Losher. So Matt, what's the situation?
All right, well, so in the Middle Fresh region, this time of year particularly, wading is just not a really prevalent method of fishing in the Middle Fresh region overall. But it can be very effective at certain times, and that's primarily in the spring when the fish are up shallower and they're spawning or in some stage of the spawn. The wade fishermen, especially on the flooded lakes, can use a really stealthy approach to access shallow flat areas and brushy areas that are either tough to get to from a boat, or if you do get a boat, you're in there, you're just spooking the fish. So wade fishing can become very advantageous when it's like that. Of course, it's always a possibility. You can certainly always go and fish wading style, even in the deeper reservoirs that we have in the Middle Fresh region. It's just going to be really important to do some map study, use those topography maps to locate some shallow areas with a creek channel that swings in close to the shoreline there, or into a flat there where you can access some deeper water from those shallower areas. Just like I've been mentioning in my reports, deep water is crucial right now for holding the bait fish, which is obviously going to bring the fish in. The good news, though, for wade fishermen, if you're trying to wade fish this time of the year, you can keep it very simple as far as bait selection. You can carry, if you're bass fishing, just carry a worm, a crankbait, and a topwater plug, and that's really the only 3 baits you're going to need to be successful right now, so that makes it a little easier on you. And speaking of those largemouth, getting into my largemouth report for the week, starting here at Toledo Bend on the east side of the region. Water conditions are still hot. Temperatures in the upper 80s and the low 90s. Looks like we might get some cool down this weekend a little bit. The level has come down some more this week, so we're sitting about 2.7 feet low and continuing that slow, steady decline that it's been on for a few weeks now. And there are fish in 3 types of areas right now. So you got basically 3 patterns going on. There's still some up around the grass in about 5 to 10 feet of water. And then there's some out on those channel swings we talked about in about 10 to 15 feet of water. And then there's some bigger schools out really deep in like 18 to 22 feet of water on the edges of the flats and on the deep humps and road beds and things like that. So I'm utilizing all 3 of these patterns right now, and I'm picking my pattern primarily based on the time of day. It seems like those deeper fish are always better later in the day. They want to bite better and group up better. So I like to start up around the grass at sunrise, and when those fish are more active and roaming outside of that grass more, and then basically just work my way deeper as the day progresses and the sun gets higher in the sky. I'm going to use that Bass Assassin tap-out worm in all 3 patterns. I'm using a walk-in topwater plug, and have that at the ready the whole time as well. And then I'll add in a crankbait or a Carolina rig here and there too. There's still some big fish being caught on Toledo recently, even though they're still in that late summer kind of skinnier stage, where there's still some giant fish being caught. There's a photo here of Mr. Henry Boudreaux with an 11.2 pounder. that was really neat story on that fish. It was actually weighed in twice in 2023, and it was tagged both times, and then caught again now in 2025. So really cool story of catch and release there and how well it works.
Wow, that's cool. All right, what else you got for us?
So jumping over to Sam Rayburn, water temp is in the upper 80s and low 90s there as well. The level is almost 7 feet low now, so it has come down just a little bit more recently. They are generating a few hours a day most days, which is just basically keeping up with the inflows, and then you add in evaporation, which you get a lot of this time of year. Keeps that downward trend going down, even though they're not really pulling on the lake real hard through the dam. The fish are still really bunched up near the mouths of the drains and on the deep humps and roadbeds. In the morning, the points at the mouth of the drains seem to be best with a worm and about 4 to 10 feet of water, and then the deeper spots out in about 18 to 25 feet of water are better once the sun gets up. Topwater action is still good, but it is random, so you just got to keep it at the ready for when they start busting. You have it ready to throw at them. There's a spoon bite that's pretty good on those deeper spots as well, with either a jigging spoon or a flutter spoon throughout the day. And then occasionally a football jig or a Carolina rig or even a crankbait will get some good bites too. So we're running short on time, so I'm just going to give you Whitney real quick and we'll have to call it there. The level on Whitney is still basically full. That water level's high over there. It's dropped a tiny bit below full for the first time in about a year. The water temperature is high there too. Once again, it's in the upper 80s. But I'm hearing that the bass bite is good. The fish are on deep structure doing their typical summertime stuff. Points at the mouths of the creeks, edges of the flats, and then the channel swings, and worms have been the best bait there as well.
All right, Matt, we got to go. Sorry, bud, we're out of time. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Rodan Marine System hotspot from the Middle Fresh region. He says the worm bite, it's good for bass on Toledo Bend, Sam Rayburn, Whitney, with some topwater action happening as well. Crappie are cooperating on Toledo Bend and Sam Rayburn, biting minnows and small jigs, cooperating crappie.
Cooperating crappie. All right, make sure you save the date, September 27th, for the Red Trout Go Live tournament, a special event benefiting the treatment and recovery of our captain, Jeff Page. Join anglers and compete for the largest redfish, up to 9 pounds, and the single heaviest trout, all for a great cause and a absolute legendary captain. Make sure you scan the QR code on your screen to get registered for that. It's going to be good.
It's a weigh-in on Facebook, guys.
Correct.
You don't need to be in Florida to be here, so
yes,
or
exactly.
to enter. All right, let's go.
Fish it. All right, keep those boots on. We're seeing how the lower coast region is staying cool and cranking them in, plus saying hi to our friend from Bajío. And remember, there's always so much more to see beyond the show, so scan that QR code to connect with us. From bonus tips and full reports to fishing videos and merch, it's all just a click away. We'll be right back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Berkeley, your fish, our science. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. Abyss Battery. Power your pursuit. Rodan. Set it, forget it, catch more fish. Phillips. Building the infrastructure that safeguards our future. Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome. And Penn. Let the battle begin.
Well, as you can see, joining me is Al Perkinson from Bajío Sunglasses. You know, Al, it's been 5 years since we started Bajío, and let's just get right into it.
5 years. It's hard to believe.
Yeah, can you imagine?
We have had a blast. We have had a blast, and man, things are taking off. We're doing super well, and really appreciate all your help.
Well, you're more than welcome. But you know what? Let's just get into what makes Bajío different than anybody else out there in the market. Let's talk a little bit about our blue light technology.
Yeah, the lens, you know, if you're a fisherman, that's where it's all at. And so we knew we had to come up with something that was different, next generation, and worked with some really smart people and came up with the idea of blocking all the blue light. And when we did that, man, things opened up. They got super clear. And so everybody just loves the clarity of our glasses and helps them see more fish.
So certainly that's all part of it, but what about the lenses? What colors do we have, Al?
Well, we got a whole range of colors because we're made for fishermen, so we needed to have lenses for every type of fishing condition. We've got 5 mirrors and 2 non-mirrors. Sometimes it's hard to tell, like which one you should pick for fishing.
Right.
So we try to make it easy. The blue is for offshore. Works great in blue water conditions, has a gray base lens. The green is for inshore and bright conditions. The the silver is sort of in the middle. So that's really good for lake fishing, for bass fishing. Our bass anglers love that lens. And then we have 2 low light lenses, which are good for cloudy days or early morning, you know, when visibility is not that great. They have a red base to them, so they make things pop in the water. But we've got a rose colored and we've got a violet color there. So most anglers, if you really want to be well equipped, you need at least 2 pairs of BOs.
That's right.
You need one for bright and one for low light.
And certainly we have glass and polycarbonate lenses, but let's talk a little bit about the warranty. Glass is certainly my favorite, but let's tell everybody about the warranty.
Well, you know, as a consumer, I hate calling a place and getting put on voicemail or just these endless, you know, experiences on customer service. So our pledge is that a real person will answer the phone when you call Bahio, and they will take care of you. So we have a lifetime warranty on our product. Anything goes wrong that's, you know, manufacturer's defect or our fault, we'll take care of you, and we're pretty liberal with those policies.
That's right. We certainly are. Go to BehillSunglassesGuys.com, see all our colors, some different frame selections. Good job, Al. Bree, we got to go to another region.
I love all of my Bahios. Okay, we know offshore reports have been fire the last few weeks in the lower coast region, but let's take it inshore for some waiting reports with Captain Chad Kidding. Go for it, Chad.
I tell you what, we've had the longest stretch of good weather I've seen in years, and it's showing up in the fish on inshore and offshore. So starting out with some wade fishing. Right now, the lower coast region, we're renowned for wade fishing. It's epic down here. And with these calmer conditions, you got better water clarity and everything. So the fishing adventures where you're going from Corpus Christi, Baffin Bay, Port Mansfield, South Padre Island, I mean, get out here now, between now and, like, say, October, it's going to be really great. It's a great way to target the fish, whether you're looking for trout, redfish, or flounder. The best way to go is get out there early, look for some bait movement. Once you see some good bait movement and you feel like there's enough fish in that area, then power pole down. Take your remote for the power poles with you. You'll be making this wade, so kind of have the guy with the power pole remote stick in the middle, and then and let the boat drift right to you. You know, when you're ready to get back and go again, keep moving. It'll drift up to you, put the power poles down, and repeat the process. These things are worth every penny when it comes to wade fishing or anything else. But make sure on your anglers, though, try to keep the guys all on kind of the same line. Don't have one guy that's wading a lot faster than the rest, because he's going to push the fish out front and away from you. It's going to ruin a little bit of the fishing for the rest of the guys. But also, when you're out there, cover a lot more water. We talk about this all the time, but that doesn't mean wading faster. It means you cast at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 2 o'clock, and that covers a lot more water while you're walking through the water there. And then once you're on the fish course, slow down, make it slow down even more, work that area harder. And it's a great time of year, like I mentioned. It's going to be a lot of fishing, push up in the flats, different areas they haven't been. Definitely go try that. So moving and talking about trout fishing, it's been really, really great. It's been great all year long. The early bites still been going off up along the sunken spoiled dumps and grass beds, sand pockets. There's been a lot of fish in that oversized area, but there's also a lot of slot fish. They're extremely healthy. They're in great shape, which is a good sign. So hit those spoiled dumps, like I mentioned, in the grass beds, sand pockets. Early, I'd start with some Berkeley jaywalkers, topwaters. They're working really good. There's less grass movement, works good like that. Soft plastics, I like moving over to saltwater sea shad. If you're using live bait, which is still working good right now, live croaker on an eagle claw tail hook, about 5 to 6 out in size, and free line that. Like I said, there's plenty of fish out there. Slot fish oversized, 3 per person, and release those bigger size, ones up there. So moving to offshore, I've been going nuts out there, and it's on fire. The floater rigs are definitely accessible this time of year. Just need a boat that can get the range over their fuel. And it's been good weather conditions, so go out there and try to get it. There's plenty of tuna action in the mix, and also some blue marlin out and hooking up out there. Yellowfin tuna, it's got to be one of my favorite fish to target, always kind of has been, along with some others, but definitely head up to the floater rigs. What we're doing is we're trolling during the day. We're pulling a full spread of mixed lures out there. We're doing like daisy chains with cedar plugs, some mid-range soft plastics, definitely some ballyhoo naked or rigged with a chin weight or a chugger head on them. And then once the night comes down, and you start jigging with your Savage jigs and your pen rods, start jigging with those, and then have a popper ready. With Savage makes those also. Have a popper ready to go when they start breaking the water up at night. And then you have this Penn 6500 spinning reel rigged up with those with the blue Carnage jiggy rod. You're going to be perfect. Get 3 or 4 ready to go. And work both the top and deeper water column for success. And once the sun rises, gets back up, you revert back to your trolling, and you'll be set. We got a picture. The first time I've ever been a floater with a buddy of mine now is Jason Starkey. He caught a nice yellowfin there. So once you're out on the floater rigs, and go for some billfish out there. They're feeding on some tuna, they're feeding on dorado, and it's, full spread of wide range lures, mid range lures, some chuggers. We've been catching quite a bit of blue marlin out here on chuggers rigged with large ballyhoo, horse ballyhoo are the full size ones. We're pulling those baits at 7.5 to 8 knots, and then keep an eye on your baits there. We're using Penn 50 wide, 80 wide internationals with the Ally 2 rods, working really good with the Berkeley Mono to 58 pound spooled up on them. We're using orange or the chartreuse yellow. It helps us keep an eye on the lines where that fish is moving. And on the same trip there, we released the blue marlin at 7:05 in the morning there with the Chris Green on that trip.
All right. Well, thank you. You done?
That's what I got here.
All right, Bub. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the lower coast region. Chad says inshore trout fishing remains excellent in the lower coast along the sunken dumps and in 3 to 5 feet of water along grass beds and sand pockets. Offshore, the fishing has been unbelievable. Awesome out at the floater rigs for yellowfin, tunas, and blue marlin. Every week he's catching a blue marlin.
Every week. Amazing. Woo. Multiple.
Come on, let's go.
Have no boat, have no fear. We're getting our weight on in the Heroes on the Water Lower Fresh region with Matt Reed. Tell us all about it, Matt.
All right, Brake, let's kick this thing off. One thing that we never need to do is don't let not having a boat keep you away from fishing. Wading is a great way to offset the summer heat and get your line stretched. Most lakes in South Texas have some areas where there's deep water within your reach. You want to target those areas with steep rock groins, rock shelves, something on that order, or creek channels with timber in them. These deeper zones will hold several different species of fish. Just your basic crankbait, spinnerbait, and Texas rigs are a great choice for the simple presentations you'll want to do by your wading. Largemouth bass and white bass can be plentiful all summer long. Find those steep areas and hit the water for some wading fun. That's always a great way to get out there and get after them. We got the largemouth bass up next. Falcon Lake bass are biting pretty well. Numbers have been really good, but the specials have been hiding a little bit. The old rock houses are giving up tons of bites. Square bills in that blueback chartreuse, which is my number one color crankbait. That's the fastest presentation on those houses. If you need to slow down, a tail-weighted Berkeley General is a great deal. That tail weight allows you to Texas rig the soft plastic, not get hung up in those rocks. The deep rocks are still the number one for the big fish. Crank that Berkeley Dime 15 religiously, and you're going to generate some big bites. Lake Amistad is definitely in the summer doldrums. There's a pretty good top water bite early in the morning in that new shallow cover, and also along the shady bluffs. That Berkeley Jaywalker or Cane Walker are both being really successful. Later, you want to move out offshore in that 15 to 25 feet of water and throw a big worm, just Texas rig big worm on the ledges to chase that big one. But the drop shot on finesse tackle is the number one way to generate, a bunch of numbers. And for sure, you can't catch them from the couch. So get out there every opportunity you have and don't let the summer heat discourage you. Got a picture there of Craig and Scott, a couple of my buddies down at Falcon. Just some nice chunks, and there's a lot of those fish to be had right now.
That's awesome. Let's talk about some gar, buddy.
All right. Ram Reyes sent me reports. The Falcon Lake alligator gar fishing has been excellent throughout the whole lake. Using cut carp or tilapia in that 8 to 15 foot of water along the creek channels and river flats is the best way to catch them on rod and reels. They're also surfacing a bunch right now, as they do in the summer. So the bow fishing has been excellent. You want to concentrate on some of the major creeks, Pierce's Cove, and inside the Baleño is some areas that those big fish have been surfacing. That way you can hopefully get a shot at one of the ones you're looking for. Got a gar picture there from Ram. That's just one of the beasts they've caught recently. Most of those fish are caught and released, so they can be caught again.
That's so awesome. All right, little kitty cat action, Matt.
All right, James Bray, Lone Oak Adventure, sent a report from Calaveras. Catfishing is excellent. And there's several, presentations that you can use to catch them. Under floats or just a basic Carolina rig on the bottom are both working. Cut shad and punch baits are yielding the best results. You want to target those deeper creek channel and underwater rock humps to load the boat with channel cat right now. Got a picture of one of his trips recently. That is a table full of catfish right there, my friend.
I even see a couple redfish there. That's
you
so
do, because
awesome,
that's the unusual anomaly there. Calaveras has got those redfish in freshwater.
All right, bud. Thank you so much for all the pictures this week. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the lower fresh hotspots. He says Falcon Lake, alligator gar extremely active. These giants are using creek channels and river ledges in 10 to 20 feet of water. Fresh cut carp and tilapias for the best bait. These are truly some of the biggest fish available to be caught in fresh water. Between 100 and 200 pounds are not uncommon.
Dang.
Wow.
What a fun trip that would be.
Come on, let's go.
All right. Well, it's the final days of the Skeeter Blazing Hot Summer Sales event, and until September 5th, you can save big with up to $5,000 in rebates on select models. Get the Skeeter boat you've been dreaming about. Visit your authorized Skeeter dealer or go to skeeterboats.com for more details. Yes?
I got my boots.
You point out your boots? Are those wading boots or those your cowboy boots?
I got my boots on, man. I'm ready to go, little alligator.
I love it. Well, I have my Sperry's on, so,
okay.
We're ready for both things.
We're ready for something.
Saltwater cowboy. All right, get ready to hit the lakes in the upper fresh region when we come back. But first, we're hitting up Dave Farrell for some new products at the Parts View Workbench, and I see some kicks over there we're going to talk about.
I don't have no pointy lizard shoes.
They're not pointy, they're square-toed. Get it right.
Yeah,
no, these are a little nicer.
Or in
These
lighter,
are a little lighter
sure.
anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
We could probably hit somebody in the head with one of his boots and kill them.
Probably. Is that what
Not
you're going
these.
for? All right, we'll be back.
Bye-bye.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Abu Garcia, Fish to Win, Fenwick, Feel Everything, Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome, Heroes on the Water, Paddle, Fish, Heel, Turn on the Bite anytime, Tie on a Mirrolure, Front Runner Boats, performance-built offshore fishing boats made in the USA, and Startron, start, run, and store with Startron.
Today's Power Pole tip of the week is about the Power Pole Vision. Guys, this is the entertainment part of the Power Pole Vision. I love it. The reason why is I can take a traditional day of fishing, and now when I go to the sandbar, I have something to offer to all the people in my boat. Whether it's the kids watching one of their favorite TV shows, whether I want to stream something on Discovery Go, you want to watch Sportsman's Adventures, guess what? All those streaming devices can be shown right here on Vision. The other thing that you can do is you can play all your favorite music by simply going to Spotify or other music apps, and then mama's gonna be happy. If you want to order some food on the way home, guess what? Go to DoorDash, and guess what? You can order your favorite food and pick it up on the way home. If you want to know more about Vision, guys, go to powerpole.com, and that's today's Power Pole tip of the week. I'm so excited about being able to order food on the way home from before we get to the boat ramp. That's just a killer. But we're here at the Parts View Workbench.
Yes, sir.
It's Taco, Trolling the Edge, new products. So why don't we just talk about these cool Eagle Claw?
Yeah, we're going to start with those hooks, especially since we're talking about wading. These are a great alternative when you're wade fishing, especially with a bait caster. You can throw a big swim bait on and have plenty of weight to be able to cast it a long way, which is, again, what you're trying to do. These Eagle Claw TK170, it's a weighted swim bait hook. It's got the spring bait keeper. Great, for any type of time when you're wanting to use a soft plastic in any kind of cover. That added keel weight gives you more control of both the speed and the depth of it. Allows you to keep contact with the bait. That optimized gap there that it has. It comes with an elevated attack position. Comes in a 3/0, a 5/0, a 7/0, in a 1/8 ounce, a 1/4 ounce, on all the way up to a 3/8 ounce weight. Wow. So you can really whip it. Plus, it's a trocar, so it has that really big sharp, three-sided tip there that really penetrates.
Made in the USA. Where do we go to
Made,
get
engineered, and
Denver,
tested
Colorado.
in Colorado. EagleClaw.com to check those out.
Dave, we met these fellas
at ICAST.
At ICAST.
Yeah, these are really cool shoes. Strike footwear. That's the bluefin lace sneaker there. Lightweight performance sneakers built for traction and support. These are all made for like 10% of them are upcycled marine plastics. Plastics actually pulled out of the marine environment, and the rest of the stuff's made out of just recycled plastic as well. So they're completely, made from recycled materials, and this marine plastic yarn, which helps combat the pollution. It's got a toe bumper, an Aquadex sole. That sole on there has millions of little cuts in it, little sipes that will keep the moisture, out from underneath the shoe and allow it to grip. And also these channels here. If you get water inside, it's got engineered channels all the way through the footbed to send that water out away from your foot, so you're not soaking in it.
Yeah, it'll dry a lot faster.
Yeah, and it's got this really cool rubber material that's made out of a bio-based material. So as it degrades, it actually doesn't add bad things to the environment. It just degrades and goes away. So. Really cool. And that one over there is the silver tip strap sneaker, and it has an adjustable strap instead of the strings, and it's all the same stuff inside there.
This is the IGFA model.
Exactly, and a little bit of the money from every purchase goes to the IGFA. So
that's a
you can't beat
deal.
that.
All right.
StrikeFootwear.com to get those.
So what about Parts View, Dave?
Next, we have the Parts View Ocean. This is the OEM engine covers. The biggest investment you have on your boat, besides the hull itself, is your engines. And and you want them to keep them looking nice. This actually will help that, keep them from getting nicked up, scratched. When you go to sell your motor, it's going to be worth a lot more because it looks really nice. Which is a thing. So these are non-abrasive, water resistant, resistant to UV rays. They also are resistant to mildew and mold, and they come in for Yamahas, Mercuries, and Suzukis, all the 4 strokes, and it's an OEM part. So when you get it from Parts View, these things come from Yamaha. So
and you know what I love about this is that you can go and get anything.
Correct.
You don't have to go to the dealership and have somebody wait on you. You can order this online and it's delivered to your house tomorrow.
Correct. Next and last, real quick, we've got the AFCO Expedition Backpack. This is a really high-end fishing backpack, 30-liter capacity, fully padded back panels. Yes. Probably have to adjust it before you try to put it on.
No, I'm good.
Because it really, you can fill that thing all the way up and still wear it with all that padding. It's got a laptop compartment inside, as well as the regular, big compartment has a place here where you can put all your pliers and whatnot. And zip all that up. So on your leader material, it's 12 width, 19 inches high, 6.5 deep. So
AFCO.com, guys.
AFCO.com to get that Expedition backpack. Everybody wants one of those, I know.
Right.
You look like you're on your way to school, Richard Murphy.
Fishing
school. It's been a while. Fishing school. All right, well, with that long Labor Day weekend coming up, the Upper Fresh Region lakes are the only place to be. So let's check with Mike McFarland in Studio T on those details. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Bree, we're actually on vacation in Colorado, no Studio T, but we can still do the TIFR. So no vacation from TIFR. Let's tell you about wade fishing. Upper Fresh Region can be a really difficult area to find land that's non-private. So because of that, it's hard and very limited to find areas to wade. In addition, right now, all of our lakes are overpooled. And so it's really been a challenge to find access to these areas. There are a few places that I do suggest if you're looking to do that you can fish by wading, and that's always good in the current and outflows of the release of dams. The example, you can get bass, catfish, hybrid stripers below the dams at Lake Fork, Lake Tawakoni. They're excellent, usually the low enough release rate that you can go down there and have a good time, but you got to be careful. The water flows do change, and believe me, there are alligators and snakes that are dangerous. So if you're going to wade fish in the Upper Fresh Region, watch for that stuff. But tell you what, we're really catching good bass fishing up here still. All summer long has been excellent. Bass at Tawakoni are really good right now, 6-inch below pool, 86 degrees main lake. The bass are really good popping frogs, topwater popping frogs. The early morning bite is best, and it gets better, believe it or not. I'm sorry, not best, it's good. But it gets better later in the day when that sun's shining, because they hide in those lily pads and they hide in that heavy cover. So stay tight to that vegetation. Possum Kingdom with Pete Hernandez, it's about the same as last week. Bass have been good early morning top waters on the main lake points around docks. Docks with lights are best. Once the sun gets up, switch over to those creek worms. I love the Bass Assassin tap-out worm. Going to catch your fish 12 to 18 foot. Lake Ray Hubbard, Joe Shipley, pretty much the same report, but he's seen a lot of bait fish starting to stack up early and late in the morning. So the docks that have lights, excellent topwater bite. The Berkeley Bullet Pop catching some really good fish. Half-ounce jigs catching big fish. Whoop a crawl on that half-ounce jig, you won't regret it. Shaky heads tipped with a Bass Assassin tap-out worm, all catching fish on Hubbard. And then there's Fork real quick. I'm going to go fast. It's the same. Big worms on the big main lake points. Get big bites. Here's a good Lake Fork special. We catch these fish every day.
Nice. Man, that's a nice fish. All right, what else you got, bub?
Crappie, Jackie Wiggins, Lake Fork. He said it's actually, up and down, even though he fills those tables. It's been tough this last week. Big schools of fish, he's finding them, but they're getting tough to bite, being really high pressured. Seeing white crappie now that are a little easier to catch, 12 to 40 foot in the trees. Live minnows are your best bait, and downsizing with your little, your hand-tied jigs and things, downsize. But here's Jackie. He works harder than any guy I know, fills those limits and fills those freezers. Here's two beautiful pictures of him and tables of good old crappie.
Looking good. All right, what else you got?
Stripers, hybrids, Lake Levon, Kerry Thorne, and white bass are real good on the 1 ounce slab spoons. The chartreuse and white is best, or even just a plain chartreuse. Hit the little ridge point, hybrid point, sometimes the island. Look for schools to be around 15 to 18 foot chasing schools of bait. Lake Tawakoni with Cartwright. This is amazing. This guy never, ever fails. It's just amazing how that pinfish Tawakoni 6 inches below pool, 86 on the main lake, and Cartwright's catching these hybrids and having limits in under 15 minutes every morning. Throwing a bunch back. Damn bass are hard to catch, but look at these hybrids in these pictures. Can you imagine catching fish like that in a flurry? 15 minutes.
Wow. All right, my man.
So,
thank you so much. You got catfish? Tell me about it, quick.
I do, if you got it. Pretty good anywhere. Matt Cartwright says the bigger ones are in 25 to 32 feet on cut bait around where he's been catching the hybrids.
All right, man. Thank you so much. We appreciate your hard work this week. Enjoy your time away from home. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the upper fresh hotspots from Mike's region. He says big stripers and hybrids, they're on fire in Lake Tawakoni. Captain Matt Cartwright says that they're filling the daily limits within 15 minutes each morning. And then it's catch and release for the rest of the day.
For the rest of the day, that was a full table in 15 minutes. How does he do it? He probably is eating some jerky snacks.
It's because he got depressing.
Probably.
Does he use those to catch those stripers with? That's what he's using to catch those stripers?
Yeah, of course. All right, fellas, well, it's time to take a look at Seize Social. So
let's seize it.
Let's seize it.
Do
that. What is that?
Oh
my.
No. Oh my God.
Close your mouth.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
That's nasty.
Oh,
I think he's gonna hurl.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. They make
you can't be stroking the belly.
No, they make nice pasta sauce with that, that black pasta sauce.
So
supposedly.
much to say on that, and that's a good thing to say,
Yeah.
Dave. That's probably the safest way to go with that one.
That
all this craziness. I'm going over here and getting me some pork beef sticks.
So is this what's in your cooler this week, Chris? I have zero appetite right now.
So let's take a second and talk about Captain Jeff Page, guys. You know what? We got a guy here that works on the Florida Insider Fisher Report. A lot of you guys know him from fishing against him in the redfish tournaments, and he's got health issues, got lung issues.
Yeah.
So the place where he's going to get treatment, they don't take insurance. It's a wellness center, but it's working very well for him. So we're having a tournament. It's a go live where you weigh in via Facebook. And
any state can
and you
enter.
Can be any
Fish
state
wherever you are.
I've got a great payout structure. Go click on that QR code, get registered, and help this guy out.
Yeah.
And we appreciate everything.
We do. Labor Day weekend. Be safe out there, everybody. Grab your Prospects boat snacks and
in the mouth.